Today we're here with Mike Tawater, National Market Sales Director of Medline. Mike, how did you get started in this profession? Were there any specific people or events that led you to this career?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So I've been with Medline for a little over 22 years. I've always had a passion for the long-term care industry. My mother was actually a resident of a nursing home for about 45 years before she passed away a couple of years ago. Little did I know that I would end up in this industry, but it did seem kind of preordained, if you would, that I would end up here and get to work with people and have so much respect for the bedside caregivers and really everybody who serves the elderly in our community.
Absolutely. There's oftentimes that personal connection that draws folks in. Well, infection control and prevention has been top of mind for providers since the start of the pandemic. How is Medline adjusting its products and services to further support ICP?
You know, Medline, like many providers around the country, has learned that infection prevention has really changed what it means over the last few years. When I started, it was just about gloves and hand washing. Today we know it's so much more involved than that. To that end, we actually have a brilliant young woman who's in charge of our infection prevention program. We teach all of our sales reps the ins and outs of infection prevention. We provide tools, solutions, and products to help providers deal with this issue. It's not about reinventing the wheel for providers because they're certainly aware of what those challenges are, but it's really about helping them enhance the efforts they already have in place so that they more effectively meet those needs.
Absolutely, making that easier and more effective.
Absolutely.
It's a goal we all have. We know that providers face survey regulatory challenges quite often. How are your solutions, including Abacus, streamlining this process?
Well, it's no secret today that surveyors are way behind. We speak to providers on a regular basis that haven't had a survey in over 2 years, some in over 3 years. So how do you get ready for that? Keeping in mind the importance of good survey scores and the effects those scores have on your 5-star ranking are paramount for a lot of providers. Our longest partnership going back to 2008 is with the Abacus solution that you mentioned. We believe it's still the preeminent solution in the market today to help from a quality assurance and survey regulatory standpoint. During the COVID years, however, many providers found they just didn't have time to implement a system as comprehensive as Abacus. So we're so pleased that they went back to the drawing board. They were able to create a survey readiness module that exclusively focuses on survey preparation. And they also developed a facility assessment module, which is one of the heaviest lifts providers have when it comes to complying with the regulation. So those two standalone modules give providers a way to address those challenges without the overwhelming workload that many of them saw using a solution like Abacus to be.
You mentioned a couple pieces already, but why is it important for skilled nursing facilities to use programs like Abacus in today's long-term care environment?
Well, I don't think it's any secret. If it is, I hate to let it out here today. There's a pretty significant shortage of workforce in our industry, really across the country, but we've been hit particularly hard with that. However, the amount of work that providers have to do hasn't gone down at all. So how do you continue to do what you've always had to do with less people? It revolves around efficiencies. You have to find solutions that create structured, replicable processes that then allow you to achieve the goals that you need to achieve that you may have done with 10 people in the past and now you only have 2. It's about creating efficiencies, and systems like Abacus, really that's their stock in trade. How do we do things more effectively with fewer people? We believe in the solutions that we offer because they help create those efficiencies.
Absolutely. The workforce crisis is just something that everyone is facing across the industry. Are there other ways in which Medline is supporting centers that are struggling to find quality employees?
Yeah, absolutely. We really see this as a twofold process. It's not just about finding employees, but it's about keeping employees. We teach our sales reps the phrase, we have to open the front door and we have to close the back door. And we think those are both equally important. So the reality is today, we may not be able to open the front door wide enough with the workforce shortage and the lack of willing workers in the marketplace. So that means the back door becomes even more important. How do we close that back door? We have a partner in OnShift who specifically addresses that need. Their Engage module of their solution, which is they're primarily known for their scheduling software, but their Engage piece does a great job of helping retain employees. What are they thinking? What challenges are they facing? What things can we do that may help them stay as they consider leaving the facility or maybe leaving the industry in its entirety? So creating those efficiencies through their scheduling platform and closing the back door through their Engage components has become increasingly valuable to providers.
Absolutely. Could not agree more about the two-step system. It is about drawing folks in, but also keeping them once you have them.
Yep.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate that we could have this discussion and that we'll learn more from Medline in the future.
Great. We always appreciate partnering with you guys.